Some roads, they say, are more than just asphalt and painted lines. They're scars on the landscape, soaked in tragedy, terror, and something else. Something that waits. Drive them, and you might just find your radio crackling with static, your car suddenly dying in a dead zone, or worse. You might pick up a passenger who isn't entirely human. Tonight, we're not just rehashing old legends. We're driving straight into the heart of modern fear. Welcome, fellow seekers of the unexplained. Our world is crisscrossed by millions of miles of roads, the arteries of our modern life. But beneath the hum of tires and the glare of headlights, some of these routes hide dark secrets. These are America's haunted highways, channels not just for travelers, but for chilling apparitions and downright baffling encounters. For generations, people have whispered about these lonely stretches in hushed tones, their names becoming synonymous with fear. But these aren't just campfire tales anymore. The terror seems to be evolving. Tonight, we're heading out on an unsettling journey. We'll dig into the terrifying new paranormal evidence captured by today's ghost hunters and listen to bone-chilling recent eyewitness accounts that suggest these highways are more active than ever. What are people seeing? What are they recording? And why, after all this time, do these specific roads continue to be such intense hotspots for the supernatural? Modern paranormal investigators, armed with all sorts of tech, full-spectrum cameras, advanced audio recorders, EMF detectors, thermal imaging, you name it, are venturing onto these cursed paths, trying to peel back the veil. They're not just chasing shadows. They're carefully documenting strange environmental changes, capturing disembodied voices, and sometimes images that just defy logical explanation. Their findings, often shared on internet forums and in dedicated documentaries, paint a disturbing picture. Whatever is happening on these roads isn't fading into folklore. It's persistent and, in some cases, maybe even getting bolder. At the same time, ordinary people, unsuspecting drivers, are having experiences that leave them shaken, making them question the very line between our reality and something else. These aren't stories from your grandparents' day. These are fresh accounts, often shared just moments after a terrifying encounter. Their raw fear practically jumping off social media posts, local news reports, and paranormal databases. Our connected world hasn't chased away these roadside phantoms. In many ways, it's given them a whole new stage. So, settle in, maybe turn down the lights. We're about to explore the roads where the past refuses to stay buried, where every shadow could be a specter, and where the advice to never drive alone is given with deadly seriousness. What's truly lurking along these haunted highways? Let's see what the evidence tells us. Our first stop is a name that carries a truly sinister reputation. A road consistently ranked not just as one of America's most haunted, but one of the most haunted in the world. Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey. 10 miles of winding, often deserted asphalt cutting through dense forest. This road is more than just a way to get from A to B. It's a hot spot for dark legends and deeply unsettling modern encounters. The very air here can feel heavy, charged with an unseen presence that countless drivers have reported. For decades, Clinton Road has been linked to a chilling lineup of paranormal claims. Tales of phantom headlights that aggressively tailgate you, only to vanish into thin air, are a terrifying rite of passage for many who dare to drive it after dark. Drivers often report a powerful, persistent feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following them from the shadowed woods that line the road. And then there's the infamous Ghost Boy Bridge, also known as Dead Man's Curve. The legend is deeply woven into the local fabric. Throw a coin into the murky creek below, and the spirit of a young boy who tragically drowned there might just return it. This isn't just an old story. Recent visitors keep reporting this eerie interaction. Some claim to see the boy's reflection in the water. Others hear a splash, or even feel a coin hit their car moments later, as if thrown back by an unseen hand. Some accounts even speak of being chased by something unseen after tossing the coin. But what are today's investigators finding? Paranormal teams, drawn by Clinton Road's powerful reputation, frequently conduct vigils and experiments along its length. Documentaries like The Haunted Road have brought equipment and psychics here to try and capture definitive proof. These investigations have reportedly documented sudden, inexplicable temperature drops, even on warm nights, particularly near the Ghost Boy Bridge and other supposedly active spots. Electronic voice phenomena, or EVPs, are a common goal. Investigators use sensitive digital recorders, asking questions into the oppressive silence, hoping to capture responses from beyond. And they often claim they do. Faint whispers, disembodied sighs, and sometimes even direct chilling answers to their questions have been reported as captured evidence. Modern ghost hunters also deploy full-spectrum cameras, hoping to photograph what the naked eye might miss. Along Clinton Road, these cameras have allegedly captured mysterious lights flitting between the trees, orbs of unexplained energy, and shadowy figures that appear and disappear too quickly for any normal explanation. One recent investigative technique involves using high-powered laser grids in areas where apparitions have been reported. The idea is that a physical or semi-physical entity passing through the grid would break the beams, alerting investigators to its presence even if it remains invisible. There are anecdotal reports from teams using this technique on Clinton Road of beam breaks happening with no visible cause, often accompanied by spikes on EMF meters, devices that measure fluctuations in electromagnetic fields, which are often thought to be linked to spiritual energy. Eyewitness accounts keep pouring in, reinforcing the road's terrifying legacy. One recent story, shared on a paranormal forum in late 2023, came from a group of friends who, feeling skeptical, decided to test the Ghost Boy legend. After tossing a handful of coins, they heard nothing. Disappointed, they were about to leave when their car, parked and turned off, suddenly lurched forward a few inches. At the same moment, all their phone batteries, which had been well charged, inexplicably died. They took off, not waiting to see what happened next. Another account from a solo driver in early 2024 described being followed by a pair of unusually bright headlights. The driver sped up, but the lights kept pace. Then, abruptly, the lights veered sharply off the road and into the dense woods where no vehicle could possibly go, vanishing completely. There was no sound of a crash, no trail, nothing. Just the suffocating darkness and the driver's pounding heart. The ruins of Cross Castle, a dilapidated stone structure deep in the woods off Clinton Road, also remain a focal point for unsettling experiences. Tales of alleged satanic rituals in the past fuel its dark aura, and modern urban explorers report strange noises and unnerving cold spots within its crumbling walls. Adding to the general menace, wild animals from an abandoned animal theme park, jungle habitat, are said to roam the woods. These can lead to unsettling, though natural encounters that can feel much scarier given the road's reputation. The sheer volume and consistency of these reports, spanning decades and evolving with technology, make Clinton Road a terrifying puzzle. It seems whatever haunts this lonely stretch of New Jersey is not only active, but is also keenly aware of those who come looking for it. The shadows here are deep, and they seem to watch with an ancient, unsettling patience. For many, it's not a question of if you'll experience something on Clinton Road, but what it will be, and whether you'll be brave enough to talk about it afterwards. Our next stop takes us to Clermont County, Ohio, and a stretch of road with a name as ominous as its reputation, Dead Man's Curve. This isn't just a sharp turn. Local lore and a disturbing number of modern encounters suggest it's a place where the veil between worlds is dangerously thin. The curve, part of the old Ohio Pike, State Route 125, has a tragic past. The site of a horrific head-on collision in October 1969 that claimed 5 lives. It's from this tragedy, and others like it, that the chilling legends have sprung. The most infamous spectral resident of Dead Man's Curve is the faceless hitchhiker. Legend says he appears between 1:20 and 1:40 a.m., a time frame chillingly close to the reported time of that fatal 1969 accident. Drivers, often alone and navigating the curve late at night, report seeing a figure standing by the roadside, thumb outstretched. As they get closer, they realize with dawning horror that the hitchhiker has no discernible facial features, just a smooth, shadowy blank where a face should be. Those who've reported seeing him describe an overwhelming sense of dread and an instinct to floor it and get away as fast as possible. But the faceless hitchhiker isn't the only entity said to haunt this bend. Eyewitnesses have also reported being chased by an ominous spectral motorcyclist, its engine silent, but its presence terrifyingly real. Others speak of a woman in a long flowing white dress, seen crossing the road or walking along its edge, only to vanish when a car approaches or passes right through her. These aren't just dusty old stories. Recent accounts mirror these classic encounters with unnerving accuracy. One particularly chilling recent report, which popped up in local Ohio paranormal circles in 2023, came from a young couple driving home late one evening. As they rounded Dead Man's Curve, they saw a dark, human-shaped silhouette standing near the guardrail. They slowed down, thinking it might be someone in trouble. As their headlights fully illuminated the figure, they saw no face, no features at all, just a void. The figure then seemed to glide rather than walk towards their car. Panic-stricken, the driver slammed on the accelerator. Later, when they stopped, shaken, they found a single, child-sized handprint in the dust on their passenger door. They had no children and hadn't stopped anywhere a child could have touched their car. This detail of a child's handprint is an unnervingly recurring theme in some accounts from other haunted locations, suggesting a strange and specific type of manifestation. Modern paranormal investigators are naturally drawn to Dead Man's Curve, eager to capture evidence of its reputed activity. Their methods are often systematic and patient. Teams will set up static night vision cameras overlooking the curve, hoping to catch the faceless hitchhiker or the woman in white on film. Thermal cameras are also used, searching for unexplained cold spots or heat signatures that don't match the ambient temperature. Phenomena often reported alongside ghostly sightings. EVP sessions are a staple of investigations here. Investigators will spend hours in the dead of night, right around the times the faceless hitchhiker is said to appear, asking questions and recording the silence, hoping to capture a disembodied voice, a whisper from the past. While the faceless hitchhiker himself has proven notoriously tricky to capture on definitive audio or video, some teams have reported collecting EVPs in the area. Faint, mournful sounds, or single words that are hard to make out but are undeniably there on playback. These faint voices are often only heard when investigators later review their recordings with good headphones, as they can be very quiet. Investigators also look for strange environmental changes. Sudden battery drains in equipment are commonly reported, as are unexplained malfunctions in car electronics for people just driving through. Some teams use data loggers to track temperature, humidity, and electromagnetic field fluctuations over several hours, looking for patterns or spikes that line up with reported sightings or feelings of unease. The challenge, as with many roadside hauntings, is the fleeting nature of the encounters and the uncontrolled environment. Despite the difficulties, the sheer persistence of eyewitness accounts keeps investigators coming back. One recent investigative report, published online by an Ohio-based paranormal group, detailed an overnight vigil at Dead Man's Curve. While they didn't capture the faceless hitchhiker, they did record a significant unexplained temperature drop of nearly 15 degrees Fahrenheit in a localized spot for about 3 minutes, despite no change in wind or weather. Their EMF meters also spiked during this period. Occurrences like these, while not definitive proof of a ghost, are the anomalies that fuel further investigation. The legend of Dead Man's Curve, Ohio, serves as a chilling reminder that some locations seem to hold on to tragedy, replaying echoes of past trauma for those unlucky enough to witness them. The faceless hitchhiker, the spectral motorcyclist, the woman in white, they remain potent symbols of the fear that this stretch of road instills, a fear renewed by every fresh, terrified account from those who've driven it in the dead of night.
Haynesville Woods, Maine, the frozen plea. Our journey now takes us to the dense, often snow-choked forests of northern Maine, to a stretch of road known as Route 2A, particularly the section that winds through the infamous Haynesville Woods. This road is not for the faint of heart. It's notorious for its treacherous winter conditions, sharp turns, and blind corners, but it's not just the challenging drive that gives this route its chilling reputation. It's the spectral figures who are said to endlessly relive their tragic ends along its lonely miles.
The most well-known legend of Route 2A involves the apparition of a woman. Truckers and motorists, often navigating the road in the isolating darkness of night or during swirling snowstorms, have reported seeing a distraught woman by the roadside. She sometimes appears to be pleading for help, as if she's just been in a terrible accident. Her distress seems incredibly real, her need urgent. Yet, when compassionate drivers slow down or stop to offer assistance, she vanishes without a trace. This encounter is often described as incredibly vivid, the woman appearing solid and real until the moment she simply isn't there anymore. Another persistent sighting is that of a young girl. Accounts describe her standing alone on the shoulder of the road, often far from any houses or intersections where a child might reasonably be. Sometimes she's described as looking lost, other times simply staring. The most chilling part of these sightings is that she's often linked to the tragic story of a young girl who was reportedly struck and killed by a truck on this very road many years ago. The image of a lone child in such a desolate, dangerous place is profoundly unsettling, and like the pleading woman, she too disappears when approached. These aren't fading folktales. Reports from recent years, shared in online trucking forums, local Maine news outlets, and paranormal databases, show these apparitions continue to appear. One trucker, in a 2022 post, recounted driving Route 2A on a foggy autumn night. He saw what he was certain was a woman stumbling near the tree line. Concerned, he pulled over and grabbed his flashlight. As he shone the beam where she had been, there was nothing but fog and trees. He called out, but only the silence of the woods answered. The experience left him deeply unnerved. The image of her desperate form burned into his memory. Another account from a couple driving through Haynesville woods in the winter of 2023 described seeing a small figure, like that of a child, dart out from the trees towards the road, then abruptly vanish before reaching the pavement. They slammed on their brakes, hearts pounding, fearing they'd hit someone. A frantic search revealed no footprints in the fresh snow, no sign of anyone at all. The encounter was so brief, so shocking, they questioned their own eyes, yet both had seen the same fleeting, terrifying image. Paranormal investigations on Route 2A are tough due to the road's remote nature and often harsh weather. However, paranormal groups, particularly those based in New England, have conducted night vigils and experiments along this notorious stretch. Their focus is often on trying to capture photographic or audio evidence of the reported apparitions. Investigators might set up trail cameras in areas where sightings are frequently reported, hoping the motion sensors will trigger and capture an image of the vanishing woman or child. Audio work often involves using highly sensitive microphones and parabolic dishes to try and pick up any faint sounds associated with the sightings, a woman's cry perhaps, or a child's whisper. EVP sessions are conducted, with investigators asking questions related to the local legends. Are you looking for help? What happened here? While clear, Class A EVPs are rare. Some teams have reported capturing unexplained cold spots in the middle of summer nights, or strange, swirling mists that appear in photographs but weren't visible to the naked eye at the time. These mists are particularly interesting, as they often coincide with areas where apparitions have been seen. One investigative technique sometimes used in such large outdoor locations is a sensory deprivation walk. An investigator, sometimes blindfolded and wearing noise-canceling headphones, with a spotter for safety of course, will walk a stretch of the road, focusing entirely on any intuitive feelings, sudden emotional shifts, or other subtle perceptions. While it's highly subjective, this method is sometimes used to try and pinpoint specific areas where psychic energy or residual emotional imprints might be strongest. The trouble with Route 2A, as with many haunted highways, is that definitive, irrefutable evidence remains elusive. The apparitions are fleeting, the environment vast and unpredictable. Yet, the consistency of the eyewitness testimonies, particularly from seasoned truckers who are familiar with the tricks of light and fatigue, is compelling. They describe seeing these figures with a certainty that's hard to dismiss. The woman forever pleading for help that never arrives. The young girl forever lingering near the site of her untimely death. These are the chilling specters of Haynesville woods, their stories etched into the fabric of Route 2A, a frozen plea echoing through the cold Maine nights. Kelly Road, Pennsylvania, the mystery mile of dread. We now head to Ohioville, Pennsylvania, to a stretch of road that has earned the unsettling nickname Mystery Mile. Kelly Road, a seemingly ordinary rural route, is anything but. For decades, it has been the epicenter of bizarre and terrifying phenomena, most notably its alleged effect on animals and the profound sense of unease it instills in human travelers. This isn't just about ghostly sightings. Kelly Road seems to exude an atmosphere, a palpable wrongness that affects both animals and people. One of the most enduring and disturbing legends of Kelly Road is its impact on animals. Locals and visitors alike have reported that normally docile animals, both pets and wildlife, become inexplicably aggressive or terrified upon entering this 1-mile stretch. Dogs are said to bark, snarl, or desperately try to flee. Deer have been seen acting erratically, sometimes charging at cars or running into the woods as if pursued by an unseen threat. Even birds are sometimes reported to fall silent or behave strangely. The change is often abrupt. An animal will be calm, and then upon crossing an invisible line onto Kelly Road, its demeanor changes drastically. Once off the mystery mile, they reportedly return to normal just as quickly. For humans, the experience can be equally unsettling. Many report an overwhelming feeling of dread, anxiety, or inexplicable sadness washing over them as they drive or walk along Kelly Road. This isn't just a vague spookiness. It's often described as a heavy, oppressive sensation, sometimes accompanied by a feeling of being watched, or even a sense of impending doom. Some have reported sudden headaches, nausea, or a prickling sensation on their skin. And then there are the apparitions. Recent witness accounts continue to describe spectral figures along the roadside. One of the most commonly reported is that of a young bride, seen wandering forlornly, her white dress a stark contrast to the dark woods. Another is a ghostly boy, sometimes glimpsed darting among the trees or standing silently by the edge of the forest. These sightings are often fleeting, seen in the periphery or in the quick flash of headlights, but they leave a lasting, chilling impression. A family driving Kelly Road in the autumn of 2023 shared their experience online. Their usually calm Labrador, riding in the back of their SUV, began to whine and then bark aggressively as they turned onto the infamous mile. The dog pressed itself against the far window, growling at something unseen in the woods. At the same time, the children in the back seat complained of feeling scared and like someone was touching their hair. The parents, initially skeptical, admitted to feeling an intense wave of anxiety they couldn't explain. They sped off the road, and as soon as they left the mystery mile, the dog calmed down, and the children's unease vanished. Paranormal investigators looking into Kelly Road often focus on documenting these environmental and behavioral anomalies. Teams might bring their own animals, with careful consideration for their safety, to observe their reactions, or set up equipment to monitor wildlife behavior using night vision cameras with motion sensors. Documenting the sudden changes in animal behavior is a key goal. EMF meters get a lot of use here, as some theories suggest that high or fluctuating electromagnetic fields could contribute to feelings of paranoia, unease, or even trigger hallucinations, potentially explaining some of the human experiences. Investigators look for unusual readings that can't be blamed on nearby power lines or other normal sources. Temperature drops, another classic indicator of potential paranormal activity, are also monitored. Audio recordings are made, not just for EVPs, but also for unexplained animal sounds, growls, snarls, or cries that seem to have no visible source. Some investigators have claimed to capture faint images of apparitions on still photography or video, often dismissed by skeptics as tricks of light or just our brains seeing patterns, pareidolia, but considered compelling by those who experience the unnerving atmosphere firsthand. One area of particular interest for modern investigators is the psychological impact of the location. Some paranormal research looks into infrasound, low-frequency sound below the range of human hearing that has been suggested to cause feelings of unease, dread, and even optical illusions. Investigators might use specialized audio equipment to see if infrasound is present on Kelly Road, which could offer a scientific explanation for some of the reported sensations. However, this doesn't fully account for the specific apparitions or the consistent reports of agitated animals. The mystery of Kelly Road, the mystery mile, hangs on because the experiences are so consistent and often so visceral. The unease is palpable, the animal reactions baffling, and the fleeting glimpses of spectral figures deeply disturbing. Skeptics might point to suggestion or local folklore, but for those who have felt that inexplicable dread or watched their pets transform in terror, Kelly Road is a place where the veil thins and something deeply unsettling permeates the very ground itself. The cause remains a puzzle, but the chilling effects are undeniably, terrifyingly real for those who dare to travel its length. Stagecoach Road, Marshall, Texas, the lingering touch. Our next haunted highway takes us deep into East Texas, to a narrow, unassuming red dirt road near Marshall, known as Stagecoach Road. Its history is steeped in the journeys of a bygone era, but today, it's the spectral travelers and their unsettling interactions with the living that give it its reputation. This isn't a road of high-speed chases with phantom vehicles, but rather of subtle, chilling encounters that leave a lasting mark. Sometimes, quite literally. The most persistent legend of Stagecoach Road involves the apparition of a woman in white. Countless travelers over the years have reported seeing her, often late at night, either crossing the dusty track or walking slowly along its edge. Descriptions vary slightly, but the core elements remain. A solitary female figure, dressed in white, who appears suddenly and vanishes just as quickly. Her presence is often accompanied by an unexplained chill in the air, even on warm Texas nights. But perhaps the most disturbing phenomenon associated with Stagecoach Road, and one that has seen a recent spike in reports, is the appearance of unexplained handprints. Specifically, drivers who have traveled this lonely road, particularly after dark or when feeling a sense of unease, have later discovered small, child-sized handprints on their vehicles. These prints appear on dusty car bodies, on windows, sometimes even on the inside of the glass. The chilling part: these drivers often have no idea how the prints got there. They were driving alone, had no children with them, and hadn't stopped anywhere a child could have touched their car. This specific unsettling calling card has been echoed in multiple reports, creating a uniquely creepy signature for whatever haunts Stagecoach Road. One such account, shared in an online paranormal group in early 2024, came from a man who had to take Stagecoach Road as a detour late one evening. He described feeling an unusual cold spot inside his truck as he drove the dirt section, even though the heater was on. He also had the fleeting feeling that someone was in the back seat, though he knew he was alone. He dismissed it as nerves because of the road's reputation. The next morning, however, he found 3 small, perfectly formed handprints on the dusty tailgate of his pickup truck. He lived alone and hadn't had any children near his vehicle for weeks. The prints were clear and distinct. Paranormal investigations on Stagecoach Road often focus on trying to capture evidence of the woman in white and understanding where those mysterious handprints come from. Given the road's unpaved, rural nature, investigators often use techniques suited for quieter, more subtle phenomena. Sensitive audio recording equipment is key, as investigators listen for faint whispers, disembodied footsteps in the dust, or any sounds that seem out of place in the still night. EVP sessions are common, with questions directed towards the woman in white or any entities that might be leaving the handprints. Who are you? What do you want? Are you lost? For visual evidence, they might set up static night vision cameras along stretches where the woman in white has been reported. Some investigators might use trigger objects, items like small toys or period-appropriate trinkets, given the Stagecoach Road name, placed by the roadside to see if they are moved or interacted with overnight. This technique is sometimes used to try and get a response from entities, particularly those believed to be child spirits, given the nature of the handprints. To investigate the handprint phenomenon, teams might meticulously clean a section of a vehicle, apply a fine layer of dust or chalk powder, and then drive the road, parking for periods in areas of reported high activity. The vehicle is then examined under controlled lighting for any new, unexplained marks. The consistency of the handprint stories over time is what makes this aspect so compelling to local ghost hunters. Another angle modern investigators might explore is the history of the area. Stagecoach Road, by its very name, suggests a long history of travel and potentially tragedy. Digging into old land records, newspaper archives, and local historical society documents could uncover forgotten stories of accidents, deaths, or troubled lives connected to the road or properties along it. These might offer clues to the identity of the woman in white or the source of the childlike manifestations. While Stagecoach Road might not have the dramatic, high-octane hauntings of some other locations, its brand of paranormal activity is deeply personal and unsettling. The fleeting glimpse of a sorrowful woman, the cold touch of an unseen presence, and the inexplicable tangible evidence of a child's handprint on your car long after the encounter. These are the experiences that stick with you. Local ghost hunters report capturing EVPs and strange light anomalies, but the primary evidence remains the deeply consistent eyewitness testimonies that have been passed down and continue to be reported. Stagecoach Road serves as a quiet, chilling reminder that sometimes the most profound paranormal encounters aren't loud and terrifying, but subtle, leaving behind only a whisper of their presence and an indelible, inexplicable mark. The enduring enigma, a tapestry of haunted highways. The roads we've traveled tonight are just a few threads in a vast, unsettling tapestry of haunted highways that crisscross the American landscape. The chilling encounters and paranormal evidence aren't confined to just these notorious few. Countless other routes harbor their own dark secrets and spectral inhabitants. Their legends are kept alive by a steady stream of modern eyewitness accounts and the dedicated work of today's ghost hunters. Take Shades of Death Road in Warren County, New Jersey, not too far from the infamous Clinton Road. Its very name sends a shiver down your spine, and for good reason. For decades, drivers have reported encountering mysterious, luminous mists that appear from nowhere, sometimes engulfing the road and their vehicle. Shadowy figures are said to dart across the path or lurk just within the tree line, their forms indistinct, but their presence undeniably unnerving. Ghost Lake, located nearby, only adds to the macabre atmosphere with its own tales of apparitions and unexplained phenomena. Paranormal investigators exploring Shades of Death Road often focus on its dense, oppressive atmosphere, using environmental sensors to detect sudden changes in temperature and electromagnetic fields that often accompany the appearance of the strange mists or the sighting of shadowy entities. The sheer number of reported visual anomalies keeps it a popular, if terrifying, destination for those seeking the paranormal. Then there's Zombie Road, Lawler Ford Road, in Wildwood, Missouri. This narrow, winding lane, now largely a walking trail, has a long and grim history. It's rumored to have been the site of everything from ancient Native American burial grounds to tragic accidents and unsolved murders. It's renowned for its shadowy figures, often described as shadow people, that are seen flitting at the edges of vision or standing menacingly in the distance. Unexplained lights are another common report, bobbing through the woods or appearing suddenly on the path ahead. Investigators frequenting Zombie Road use an array of equipment, from full-spectrum cameras hoping to capture the elusive shadow figures, to sensitive audio recorders aiming to pick up disembodied voices or the chilling whispers that many hikers and ghost hunters have reported hearing. The sheer density of varied paranormal claims makes Zombie Road a complex and deeply unsettling location. And we can't forget the infamous U.S. Route 491, formerly and more ominously known as Route 666, the Devil's Highway. This long, desolate stretch of road cutting through parts of New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah has been a magnet for tales of high strangeness. Reports include phantom vehicles, particularly a menacing black semi-truck that allegedly terrorizes drivers before vanishing, and spectral hitchhikers who disappear once picked up. Some drivers have even reported experiencing lost time or disorientation while on this highway. Paranormal teams investigating this highway have documented unexplained audio phenomena, including strange broadcasts picked up on car radios in areas with no discernible signal, and visual anomalies like fleeting lights or figures captured on dash cams or investigative equipment. The sheer isolation of many parts of this road undoubtedly adds to its eerie reputation. The fascination with these haunted highways is fueled by more than just old legends. We're seeing a significant rise in paranormal tourism, with many of these roads becoming unlikely destinations for thrill seekers and amateur ghost hunters, especially around Halloween. Local authorities in some areas have even issued warnings because of the increased nighttime traffic from those hoping for their own supernatural encounter. This surge in interest means more eyes on these roads, potentially leading to more reported experiences. Also, our connected world, with social media and online forums, has created vast platforms for people to share their encounters almost instantly. a terrifying drive home, can become a viral post by morning, complete with shaky cell phone footage or frantic typed-out testimony. This ease of sharing keeps the legends alive and breathing, constantly updated with fresh accounts, attracting new generations of investigators and believers. This digital footprint also provides a rich, if sometimes unverified, database for paranormal researchers looking for patterns in sightings and experiences. Modern documentaries and YouTube explorations also play a huge role in keeping these haunted highways in the public eye. Teams of investigators, armed with increasingly sophisticated technology and a flair for dramatic presentation, venture onto these roads, broadcasting their experiences to millions. They use everything from standard EMF meters and EVP recorders to more experimental devices like spirit boxes, devices that scan radio frequencies, supposedly allowing spirits to form words, and SLS cameras, structured light sensor cameras that can purportedly detect human-shaped figures not visible to the naked eye. While the scientific validity of some of this equipment is up for debate, its use in these investigations often yields compelling, if unsettling, results that captivate audiences. These programs showcase not just the alleged evidence, but the human experience of fear, anticipation, and the profound mystery of confronting the unknown. The collective weight of these ongoing reports, the new evidence captured by modern ghost hunters, and the persistent cultural fascination ensure that America's haunted highways remain potent symbols of the unexplained. They are places where the ordinary act of driving can suddenly collide with the extraordinary, where the mundane tarmac can become a stage for the spectral. The shadows on these roads are long, and they seem to stretch not just from the past, but into our present, and undoubtedly into our future. Our journey tonight has taken us down some of America's most chilling and paranormally active roadways. From the aggressive phantoms of Clinton Road to the faceless watcher on Dead Man's Curve, the sorrowful apparitions of Route 2A, the oppressive dread of Kelly Road's Mystery Mile, and the lingering touch on Stagecoach Road, each highway tells a story of lingering tragedy, unexplained phenomena, and encounters that just don't have easy answers. What we've seen is that these are not merely old wives' tales or fading folklore. The evidence presented by modern paranormal investigators, using an ever-evolving toolkit of technology, suggests that something is indeed happening on these lonely stretches of asphalt. Captured EVPs, anomalous instrument readings, inexplicable photographic and video evidence, while often open to interpretation, they paint a compelling picture of the strange and the spectral. Equally powerful are the recent eyewitness testimonies. Ordinary people, truckers, families, curious explorers, continue to experience events that shake them to their core. The consistency of these reports across different roads and over many years is pretty striking. Phantom vehicles that vanish without a trace, apparitions that plead for help or simply stand in silent sorrow, unexplained physical manifestations like handprints, and overwhelming emotional or physical sensations. These aren't isolated incidents. They are recurring themes in the ongoing story of America's haunted highways. Why these particular roads? Perhaps it's the weight of history, the emotional residue of tragic accidents, violent acts, or intense human experiences that have somehow imprinted themselves onto the landscape. Maybe these routes cut through areas with unique geological properties that make them more conducive to paranormal activity. Or perhaps, as some theories suggest, they act as liminal spaces, thresholds between our world and another, where the veil is naturally thinner. The ongoing investigations by dedicated paranormal researchers, coupled with how easy it is to share experiences in our interconnected world, mean these mysteries will continue to be explored. New technologies will emerge, new theories will be proposed, but the fundamental unsettling questions will likely remain. What truly causes these phenomena? Who or what are these entities that linger? And what do they want from us, the fleeting travelers on their timeless watch? The truth is, we may never have all the answers, but the search itself speaks to a deep human fascination with the unknown, with the possibility that there is more to our reality than we can perceive. These haunted highways serve as stark, unsettling reminders of that possibility. They challenge our understanding of life and death, of past and present. So, the next time you find yourself on a dark, deserted road, with the trees pressing in and the silence broken only by the hum of your engine. Remember these stories. Remember the unexplained lights, the fleeting figures, the sudden chills. Because on America's haunted highways, you are never truly alone. The shadows are always watching, and every mile marker could be a gateway to the unexplained. Drive carefully. What are your thoughts on these haunted highways? Have you ever experienced something inexplicable on a lonely road? Share your stories and theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. If this investigation into the paranormal has chilled you to the bone, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more explorations into the unexplained. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next trip into the shadows. And if there's a haunted road or location you think we absolutely need to investigate, let us know in the comments. Your suggestions could lead us to our next terrifying discovery. Until next time, stay curious and perhaps keep a little extra salt in your car. You never know what you might encounter out there on the dark roads.